I'm very happy to be present here this morning with Honorable Ray Reid, Minister of Education, Youth and Information, other senior government officials, as well as members of the diplomatic corps and international organizations, NGOs, and other experts in education sector. The other day, I also had the pleasure to meet with two senior officials of JFLL, Mr. Warrell Hibbert, Executive Director, and Mrs. Janet Allen, Special Projects Manager, and had fruitful and interesting discussion with them about the activities of the organization. Particularly, I learned a lot from our conversation that JFLL has been proactively engaged in the activities to promote adult education and lifelong learning, and that they are playing a very vital, important role, especially in providing opportunities for Jamaica's most vulnerable adult citizens to study. Majority of those couldn't attend or had to quit school either at the primary, old age, or secondary level due to various reasons. Quite recently, in a local Jamaican newspaper, I read the article entitled "Jamaica's Adult Literacy Rate Now at 87%, in which Dr. Camille Grace Monroe, Deputy Executive Director of the JFLL, mentioned that while the adult literacy rate in Jamaica has improved in the past 40 years, Jamaica needs to do more, pointing out several endeavors that the JFL had already embarked on. In fact, today we have the Honorable Minister Ray Reid at the International Literacy Day commemoration with a top leader within education sector in the country. Quite noticeably, Minister Reid is working so actively every day that there is not even one day that we do not see him on TV or in newspapers. Indeed, Minister Reid is working. So I am truly hoping that various measures that in the forward-thinking agenda of Jamaica's education sector will continue to achieve great results under the strong leadership of Minister Reid. Going back to the earlier news article, Dr. Monroe emphasized the education is not just about literacy and numeracy, but is about life chances, equipping adults to be able to make effective decisions that will impact their lives, their families, their workplaces, and their communities. I cannot agree with her more, and I am sure you are all in agreement too. Her words remind me of a famous saying that learning is light and illiteracy is darkness. So this is, as you may be well aware, the words of Socrates. And comparing one's life to a dark, long path, he further mentioned to the effect that while those who neglect learning walk on the spur of the moment, those who pursue learning take each step along the path in a confident manner. These ideas have very much in common with the concept of human security, which Japan advocates as one of its main philosophies in promoting international cooperation, and also whose perspective is emphasized in the implementation of Japanese Official Development Assistance, ODA. Human security is in essence the belief that a human being, irrespective of where he or she was born, is entitled to live a healthy, dignified, fulfilling life and should be allowed to develop his or her ability to the maximum extent possible. It is very human-centered approach and places emphasis on empowerment of each individual and community to establish self-reliance and sustainable society. I believe that education plays the most important role in materializing the human security concept. As one of Jamaica's major development partners, allow me to briefly share with you a little about our ODA to Jamaica in recent years. Japan has been supporting Jamaica mainly in the sector of disaster prevention, environment, energy conservation, and education in the form of grant aid and technical cooperation. As for the education sector, we have been providing our support through our grant assistance for grassroots human security project, commonly called GGP scheme, as well as dispatch of JICA volunteers as part of our ongoing technical cooperation program. Regarding our JICA volunteers, there are now 20 volunteers working in various places in the island to deal with a range of development issues. Actually, I'm hoping to see the number of volunteers double over the next year. Out of the 20, 3 volunteers are working in mathematics education at the primary, secondary, and Ministry of Education region office, and 6 volunteers are working for environmental and agriculture education, and the remaining 2 are working at the higher education. Notably, one senior volunteer who was retired and experienced teacher of math in a Japanese primary school recently left Jamaica after completing a 2 years assignment here. She introduced so-called calculation time method to make the learning of math more fun and enjoyable. She used Bob Marley's music, drew the attention of students, singing "Don't worry about math, because calculation time gonna be all right." So she also helped a student to count in groups of 10 using domino cards instead using fingers. I understand that this calculation time has now been used in more than 100 schools across Jamaica. Speaking about our GGP, this scheme, which deeply focuses on the concept of human security, as it indicated in the name of the scheme, provides financial assistance usually not exceeding to 10 million yen, approximately 12.5 $100,000 US, to relatively small scale projects to directly benefit people at grassroots level in terms of the well-being and living environment. Compared with much larger projects at the government level, the GGP can be implemented in a prompt manner, since the approval procedures are swiftly executed much faster than other cooperation projects. Eligible recipients include international and local non-government organizations, local public authorities, educational institutions, such as primary and junior high school, hospitals, and medical institutions. Especially within the most recent years, we have implemented the GGP project mainly in the education sector in the country, which include facilities development of schools, provision of equipment, and building of libraries. This morning, I'm very pleased to tell you that our embassy is now discussing the possibility of collaborating on a new project with the Jamaica Foundation for Lifelong Learning. Again, to my great delight, since my arrival as Ambassador of Japan to Jamaica last year, I am pleased to note that so far I have signed 6 new contracts for GGP projects, including 5 educational ones, and also attended 6 completion ceremonies of GGP projects, among which 5 of those projects belong to the education sector. I now take this opportunity to express my profound gratitude to the Honorable Minister Reid for taking the time out to attend most of the ceremonies, despite his very, very busy schedule. Thank you very much. My happiest moment at those events is to see beaming smiles of people within the communities upon seeing those completed and improved facilities. Going forward, we are willing to cooperate with the people and government of Jamaica to further enhance the educational endeavors in this beautiful country, so that human security will be better ensured through the empowerment of people. In concluding my remarks, I'll thank JFLL again for inviting me on this very important occasion. Thank you for all for listening. ありがとうございました。In Japanese.